We're waiting for Jodie, which is so fabulous. I knew
Hi!
it was so bang on it.
I was like, it's like the blind leading the blind. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just press every button and then just hope something works. But then we got it. We got it.
You to be like really bang on it, but I am hoping
No.
at least here, sort of technical advisor, making sure that everything
Yeah, exactly.
out. So I'm on my own, and I'm like, oh my god!
Oh yeah, don't leave me. Don't leave
Don't
me.
leave me on these lives. I don't want to mess up with Jodie or any. All these fabulous chefs coming on as well, sweetie. You're on this restaurant live channel that we now call it.
I know, it's amazing.
We you from your past into the present.
Well, hang on. First of all, I want to thank you so much for this, and that you said that, right, if we're going to have our little chit chat, you have to have a glass of bubbles. And I thought, 3 o'clock on a Monday, a gorgeous blanc de blanc. I was like, I'm in.
Okay.
So I'm going to open mine. Have you got yours already?
Open it. There it is. It's Frerejean Frères, which is this beautiful brand that we are supporting.
Yes.
They are actually the champagne for Michelin, for the Michelin Guide.
And this is beautiful. And a blanc de blanc. Look how gorgeous.
Isn't that brilliant?
That plaque is. Yeah, it's just stunning. So I'm very, very excited. So talk a bit more about the champagne whilst I get mine open.
I tell you what, Jodie, you are a total professional in the way of placement. I mean, it's bang on, isn't it? It's just, you're so good at it, So, give a little bit of Frerejean Frères. Frerejean Frères is an amazing champagne. They support Michelin, and is it going? Oh my God, you've been in the restaurant game far too or you have opened lots of bottles of champagne.
Yes, I think a bit of both.
Both. And it's a really wonderful brand that the chap called, we did a live with Rodolphe, and Rodolphe is part of the Tassinger family. You're very good at this, I can say. Well, the idea was to have bubbles at 3. Cheers.
Chin, chin, my love.
It makes the conversation a lot more relaxed and easier, which is the way
Oh, it's beautiful. I'm a lot funnier after a glass of champagne anyway, so it's a very good idea.
Well, okay, well that's really good. So, what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about restaurants, obviously.
Yep.
That's where, I don't know whether you're in there or whether that's where you are.
No,
so I think we're going to go twofold on the hospitality, but because your whole life is not hospitality, we'll go a little bit about other things as well. But
yeah.
So very first of all, one of the reasons I've asked you to come on is in the launch of what I've launched, which is Young Chef, Young Waiter, which is a competition that you will know a little bit about because you came to the gala dinner.
Came to the dinner, so that was, yes. So that I've got a small insight into it, and I think it's such a brilliant idea. And I was actually going to ask you, how has the epidemic just put it to a full grinding halt, or just put on the back burner, or?
On the contrary, darling, it's because the way we designed it last year. So that is a very good question. By the way, your glass bottom actually matches your earrings. Is that
my earrings? I know. I mean, isn't that lovely? That's a lovely Tiffany champagne glass. Love that.
I mean,
very colour coordinated.
When you come into a supermodel's home, I suppose. I thought of it. Well, I suppose my bottle matches my logo. I've gone very French, I suppose. So I could.
Yes, and the greenery behind. Go on. So explain what's happening.
Yes. So Young Chef, Young Waiter was redesigned last year to be an online competition, online all the way through to the final 2 days. So all of the applications are online, all of the judging is online, and we have some amazing judges. And anyone goes and has a look on the youngchefyoungwaiter.com website can see all the judges, which includes Claire Smith and Jason Atherton and Claude Bosie and John Williams and Galvin's and amazing chefs. And so by default, it's worked perfectly for this year because it's online all the way through. So it's one of the only, if not the only, chef and waiter competition that's happening this year, because obviously all of them all the competitions that have run previously, you have to be at, you have to judge, you have to have, you know, you can't do it social distancing. But of course, you can all apply. So it's almost in reverse. This is now, we think we're going to get an absolute, we're going to get inundated with that.
Loads. When does it officially start?
So it's just launched. It launched 2 weeks ago. All the applications have gone out within last week, and the new website, or the website's just been updated. We had a few delays there, but really, I'm so excited about it. And the chefs and the waiters and the industry is so behind it, because we have young talent sitting at home. So young chef, young waiter is 26 and under. Young waiters, young chefs from all walks of hospitality. You can be you can be in a tiny pub in the Northern Isles of Scotland, or you can be in a 3 Michelin star restaurant, wherever it may be.
Open for all.
And so if you're a young chef or you're a waiter, 26 and under, and if you have any young staff, young chefs, young waiters sitting there, they can enter it right now. And so
wonderful.
That is really exciting. And the other thing, again, you were at the gala, so you've got a little bit of an insight, is Mercedes are doing, are one of our official partner. They are giving the young winners, the winning young chef, the winning young waiter, a Mercedes each for a year.
Amazing.
Including assurance. So, I mean, amazing prizes for an amazing competition. So,
no, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I didn't realize it was online. So, you know, well done for that forward thinking. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it was always put online because the chefs and you know, head waiters, the caliber that we wanted are so busy. They were so busy. they are so busy. And so the easiest way to do it was to redesign it, revamp it, restyle it, make it a much more dynamic event. And that way the chefs, wherever they were, could judge. And I just thought that was a logical process. Well,
that's it's good.
Because our other events we run, I mean, the gala, which is called the Restaurant Association Gala, seems like a lifetime away now, and it was only 4 months ago. So I'm really excited about that. I'm super pleased to have Mercedes very, very involved, and we've got lots and lots of other brands coming in. And this year it's about supporting hospitality. Yeah.
Which needs a hell of a lot of support.
So that leads us beautifully into where you are, what you do, and now your world in this hospitality world that you've embarked on. I'm not quite sure, but it was the whole thing was intentional at the beginning.
Belly flopped.
I know, I know you love it, and I know it's a passion. And once you get into this sector, this industry, you can't. Yeah,
it's addictive.
It becomes a passion. So you have the Half Moon pub, obviously, down in is it Kirdford? In
Kirdford in West Sussex. Yep.
Yeah. So now tell everyone. I mean, I have an audience. You have an audience. Tell everyone just a little bit about the pub, how you got there, and of course now it's really about where you're going to go forward.
Yeah, so the pub was, I've lived rurally and in this area for most of my life, and I just noticed over the last 10, 15 years how many of our little village pubs have been turned into houses, and you know, the real heart of a village, which has always been a pub, kind of disappearing. So my local, which is the Half Moon, was closed down. It had swapped hands so many times. It had been a fish restaurant. It had been a wine bar. It had been, you know, it had tried to have many, many different faces, and none of them really worked. And so finally closed down. I heard developers were sniffing around because it's a beautiful Grade 2 listed, gorgeous building in the middle of a very, very pretty village. Yeah. And yes, so I heard developers were sniffing around to turn it into houses. So so I got together with two friends that have also never ever been in the hospitality industry, and we ended up buying it. And then we were like, shit, what are we doing? I mean, it really has been an uphill, very steep learning curve.
And how long now? Roughly what time? When did you buy it? How long ago?
So it was about 3 years ago. We did about 6 months of refurb. So I always, after I came off the back of getting to the final of MasterChef, Celebrity MasterChef, it kind of like totally just educated me in food, because I've always been, always modeled. And so a model's relationship with food is not that extensive, really. It's kind of like a lettuce leaf and a bit of a carrot, and off you go. So, so after I did MasterChef, I suddenly understood the world of textures and flavors and ingredients and mixing and food pairing and just the gorgeousness of it. So of course I did 3 months of MasterChef and then came out thinking that I was an expert and that I was very capable of running my own restaurant, which was like, I was going, yes, I've got this.
I can cook.
My wonderful, lovely partners who were like, okay, Jones, if you've got it, we'll support. And and so I said, right, we want to get Michelin stars, we want to didn't really think about A, where we are, B, that it's a very complicated little kitchen to run the front of house on a par with what we're producing in the kitchen, to dealing with chefs and dealing with staff, it was all a bit kind of like, wow. But we got this incredible chef in to begin with called Paul Wellborn, who's still a very, very good friend of mine. And he's now opened up the Oxford kitchen, is now just been awarded his first Michelin star.
Wow.
So he came on as like our first chef, where I had all these dreams and aspirations of things that weren't really realistic, because what I wanted to do was to make it, with all this glamour and awards and everything, but I really lost what I bought it for, which was for the village. And everyone in the village, kind of was like, oh, that's wonderful to go to once every 6 months, but so I kind of lost my way a bit in my first kind of eagerness of why I really got the pub and what the reason was, and what I wanted to support local producers and local suppliers and microbreweries and all of these little things. And suddenly when you go to higher echelons and awards and things like that, it starts, as you all know, becoming incredibly complicated.
Right.
So I had to rein it back a bit, and I had to become true to what we are, which is, obviously we've got 2 rosettes, which is wonderful, and I think that's where we want to stay, which is a wonderful level of food, but it's still a good old pub, so we still do our fish pies, and we still do a wonderful steak and things, but always with a twist. So I think we've got to a really nice balancing point now, but it took a bit of testing and adjusting, especially when I had no idea about the industry and the complications and the intricacies and especially when you're really rural, that it was a lot of learning. But I think we're getting there, and this was our first kind of proper full-on year where we paid all our startup costs, and we'd got everything was ready, you've got a good name, and then suddenly Corona. Close the door. So all the doors. So yeah, this was supposed to be our big summer, and my goodness, what a summer it's been already.
I know.
God, I dread to think.
But the thing is that you've done the hard work. You've got, where you're going. You've got finally, and I've been doing this a long time, and I think I remember, Jodie, are you half Irish? You're not half.
To be sure. I like to drink Guinness. That's about as much Irish as I've got in me.
And I think we sort of met through Donna on the basis, I think at the time you were pulling your hair out with, how am I going to get this pub, and wow is it? And I think that, what you've done and how you've done it is the way to do it. It's a bit like I'm growing some, it costs a lot more money, but I'm growing vegetables out there that I've never grown in my life. And I have no idea they're going to come out.
Takes a while, yeah.
It doesn't quite work. I know how to fix it. Or I'm cooking every day online. And sometimes I haven't done things a little while now. And I change and chop and change. Now, it's a bit more costly in the way you're going about it, but the principle is pretty much the same. You're trying things and changing things. And the key is, in anything that we do in this world, is to try and keep it simple. You're now you're in the perfect, you've got the perfect sort of ideas and regime behind you, i.e. great produce, you can't beat it. If you've got great,
no, we're so lucky.
Chips, you know, and if you make great chips, you can get awards for, you know, you can keep things simple all the way down the line.
Yeah.
And just really do those simple dishes brilliantly.
Yeah, exactly.
They will draw people back all the time. And if you're the best steak pie, the best cottage pie, the best fish and chips, the best, you know, and you can go very complicated.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm slowly understanding that, you know, but it was kind of like, got so overexcited at the beginning, and you know, and I just went, but the thing was, it was such a good learning curve, you know. I made so many mistakes and so many, you know, kind of good decisions and bad decisions and things like that I learned so quickly, that, you know, it was a real chuck in. The best roads.
Well done. Well
done. You know, that it was a baptism of fire. So, you know, I feel so much more kind of confident when we're going to reopen, because we've obviously closed, as everyone has, their doors, and we've started to do takeaways, weekend takeaways for Friday, Saturday and Sunday, including the famous Sunday roast. And then we'll just, the problem with us is that I don't know whether I'm jumping the gun here, but about, you know, that everyone's saying that in July we might be able to open restaurants and pubs, but we still need to have the 2 meter social distancing gap. And you've been to the pub. I mean, if for little lovely country pubs, it's going to be so difficult to keep that, you know, to keep that 2 meters, because to get to the bathroom you have to go past the bar, and that's only 1.5 meters, you know. So it's going to be very, very tough. And then also operationally, to run where we had to run literally at full capacity to you know, to make our, you know, our budgets, that if we're going to have to slash those by half because of spacing, you know, it's really not going to be very cost effective if we're going down from 50 covers to 25. You know, so if for us, I think it's going to be more sensible to keep closed until they bring that 2 meter social distancing down to, I mean, there's a lot of places in Europe that are only 1, but you know, we're still having, I think last week alone we still have 8,000 you know, confirmed infections and things like that. So we're still, you know, right in the middle of it, even though we're you know, the lockdown is easing.
So putting my other hat on, my restaurant association hat on at the moment, just to give you a bit of an update. So there's at the moment it's 2 meters at the moment. World Health Organization say 1 meter right now. So other countries are 1 meter. It's all about, I can't wait to walk through Half Moon Door and have a Guinness with you.
No.
Oh, nice. That's lovely. No. Lovely messages. And it just goes to show that we all miss these. I mean, I miss the pub. I miss my restaurants. I mean, we all.
I know.
So July the 4th is when, at the moment, hospitality venues can open again, subject to of the guidelines, which have not actually yet been finalised yet. So we don't know what they are yet. At the moment, it's 2 meters. It could be different next week. And then it's about how your staff and your service staff, both how your team in the kitchen and how your team at the front are going to work safely.
Yeah, exactly.
And in a nutshell, if they work safely, your customers will be safe, because if they can't work safely, well, there's no point. Obviously, you have also beautiful outdoor area there that is possible to run, exclude. You know, you don't have to open inside, you could open outside.
Yeah.
Have that area out there where you could do certain things or whatever. I mean, it's not, but I'm just saying that there are certain options. None of these options are perfect by any means, you know.
No.
And
Yeah.
what we would like is Half Moon to be rolling and everyone drinking and all that. But just to sort of start the ball rolling whenever the date is, or whenever you decide, because you don't have to open until you're ready, you know.
No,
You're
and
not
I think
happy, don't open. You know, there's
I think that's it. I think that we, you know, my number one priority is obviously the people that come there and my team. And there's one thing with a pub that worries me more than most, is that, you know, everyone could be right. We're at our 1 meter, we're at our 2 meters, whatever the rule will be. It will be there will be some kind of distancing. I can see until maybe there's a vaccine, but certainly for a good 6 months plus, there's going to be some kind of distancing. And what I was just thinking, especially in a small pub like what we have, when people are around the bar, you're fine after you've had your first pint, but after your third, after your fourth, you know, everything starts relaxing, everybody starts getting a bit more chummy, a bit more friendly. Then my staff are going to have to step in and then have to tell people to come apart. And, you know, so there was all of these kind of things that God, all I want is to see people sitting, you know, drinking a wonderful glass of rosé in the garden right now. Nothing is more beautiful than eating gorgeous food. But just that, what I would never, ever forgive myself if someone became or caught the virus because of, you know, of doing something too quickly. I feel it's really important for us, because that's the size of property that we have, is it will be very, very difficult to manage that. For us, I don't think it's something that we should rush at all. So therefore what we're doing is we're going to be doing lots of you know, painting and doing some refurb and, you know, getting all the, because we basically haven't stopped. We haven't, well, maybe an odd week off here, there and anywhere since we opened. So I think it's a good time for us just to deep clean, scrub, refix everything, you know, do all of those bits, and just, as I said, just not to rush, because I'm kind of self-isolating with a 90-year-old lady. You know, we've been very, very strict about, you know, going out. I'm always with a mask, I'm always with gloves, because, you know, I would never forgive myself if I brought anything back through a second of complacency and Rach caught the virus, and she's 90. So, you know, the worry of one of my people, you know, one of my, you know, regulars coming in and it's too horrendous for me to rush this.
Yeah, and I get it, and I think there will be thousands of people within our sector, you know, with the same thoughts. How they're going to do it, and really, you know, ultimately it's up to everybody to feel comfortable, to feel safe, and to open at certain areas, you know. And it may well be that you can do something in the garden to try something, you know, and give it a go and see how it works. Just to, I'm loving doing these, because I'm speaking to, well, obviously I know you, but a lot of what you've mentioned today I didn't know.
Yeah.
Tom Aikens on Friday, and it was great because I get a bit of time with you, but I don't get time with the chef. Like,
no, and normally it's like, hi, how are you, lovely day, you know.
Tom,
you get to properly find out
so it's actually quite
what's
fun
going on
doing this, but also listening to everybody's new. And now Tom has a tiny restaurant that he's recreated at Muse. I mean, it's really, but very, I mean, beautifully designed, perfectly proportioned.
Yeah.
But really, I mean, but then you've got Claude Bossy, who is in, it's hard, but you're really keeping responsible. Oh, there you go. So King is saying that you are being.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, the problem being is that I will definitely be very shocked if every single pub reopens. You know, we're going to lose a lot of pubs, a lot of restaurants through this, and you know, and I've got a little bit of, well, I've got a massive blessing that I've got two people that are supporting, going, you know, it's more sensible to keep the doors closed than just to waste money. We need to be very, very conscious and careful of what we're doing right now. But, you know, so I've got a little bit of a backup with my backers that a lot of people don't. So it's kind of tossing up. Do I lose my whole business, or do we try and, you know, so it's an incredibly tough decision that people are faced with.
You are, again, like we talk about the thousands and thousands of people with the same issues of opening, the thousands and thousands of people with the same problems of how are they going to do it.
Yeah.
Once your customers have drunk a few pints of Guinness, they will keep it. I don't know whether they will. That's the problem.
No, will everyone be rugby tackling each other? Hey!
But
yeah, it is. It's a really tricky one. Yeah. But I feel very kind of lucky and blessed that I do have a bit of support. Obviously, the government, I think, have been brilliant. They've been really good, and we managed to get a grant. So that's, you know, keeping the head just above the water. But, you know, I think that there's definite things that they should be able to help us with a little bit more, whether we go into, you know, into cutting beer tax, you know, a bit more longer, bit, you know.
But I think the furlough
the grants.
So there are many things going on within, you know, my restaurant association help with UK hospitality. There's many things that are happening there right now. Kate Nichols is doing an amazing job, I have to say, looking after our industry, making sure that we get support from the government. And yeah, I think in all sectors, the government have been probably done as best as they possibly can, and probably slightly better than we thought. Yeah. But it's not going to help us, you know, as we go forward, unless we have clear direction of where we're going. And as I said, I think, you know, we've got 5 weeks still before we even allowed to open if we want to. So there are quite a lot of new instructions and advice before then, I'm sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, you know, now things are actually moving, and they're moving quite rapidly, and every day something else is happening, and rather than 2 weeks having to wait for something. But I think we're good with keeping our kind of takeaways going. And that seems to be, you know, lovely, and everyone's been so incredible from the village and really supportive. So I think we're just going to be, you know, tentatively going down that path, rather than as soon as this, you know, as soon as the doors open, you know, I think people will also be, of course, we'll have our regulars coming in going, woohoo, you know, it's been months and months. And then, but I think a lot of people will be worried and a bit nervous as well. And I think it will take a bit of time for people's confidence to come back up as well, to be able to come to a restaurant or come to...
I'm going to be worried. You know, I think we're all going to be, not just because we happen to be, if you go into your pub, you go into another venue, and you know, we're all going to be very concerned to make sure that everyone's doing the right thing. You know, I don't think, I understand all the fuss, and I'm certainly not going to get into politics here on this. No. I understand all the fuss. No.
I'm on my second glass of champers. Don't get me into politics.
The rules are, we all know what we're supposed to do, and I know that I will want to be very careful, and I will want to know when I go to a venue that I'm going to be safe. And that will be for my decision, whereas it's your decision to open. It'll be for the customer's decision to come in. So there's a lot of hurdles to overcome before we're all going to be, you know, cuddling, you know, and being lovely and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's just why I think personally we're going to sit back a bit, and we're going to go, let's just get that confidence back. Let's get, you know, to a point where, you know, maybe the distance will come down a bit. Let's get, you know, I definitely think we're just going to, even though it's going to be such a shame, but I do want to think about maybe getting a lovely local micro brewer into the garden, and you know, just keep everything in the garden and having squares. I think it's, you know, doing something where we keep, but you know, that's where the team and myself are all kind of putting our heads together and trying to think of things.
Well, one of the things that have come out of all these conversations that I've had and I'm going to have as we go forward, we got some amazing people from the hospitality sector coming on, and I'm so pleased that I quite like this Insta Live. As I said, I find out that we've got John Williams tomorrow, who is executive head chef at the Ritz, of course, and Jason Atherton on Wednesday.
Amazing,
you know, but wonderful. I mean, one great people within hospitality, of course, but also it'd be great to get their views on how they're going.
Oh my goodness.
You've got your location. Jason's got whatever, I don't know, 15 or 20.
Yeah, it's like a few more than I have.
but principally, it's exactly the same. Everyone's got to be safe. Everyone's got to serve food. Yeah,
no, absolutely. But that's the thing, you know, is it when you've got more than 5 different restaurants, how much more pressure is that? Or actually, is that easier? Or, you know, there's lots of things that, you know, I'd be really intrigued to ask them personally, kind of.
Well, you can ask them when they're on, Jodie.
I will. I will
definitely answer it. And so, other than I don't know what else you do actually. Whether you do other things.
Not a lot at the moment.
But I mean, how have you been keeping yourself occupied? I mean, I know that Donna and I have been. I mean, she feels that this time, you're either going to look at it negative, you're going to look at it positively. We are positive all the way through. So she said it's been an amazing time. She's been blessed to have this time to catch up on everything. She feels like she's on top of all her book work, on everything else she's doing.
Yeah.
I've sort of rekindled my fire with cooking.
I've watched you every day. I mean, it's just I've learned some of the most brilliant because it's you and it's your experience over your lifetime, little tricks of the trade that I didn't know. I was like, oh, I'm going to try that tomorrow. So I'm going to do your moussaka. I think I'm going to do it on Thursday when the weather gets slightly less hot.
I that a forensic moussaka, by the way.
Oh, God, it looked good.
It's a long process, but wow. I've just taken 2 out of the freezer. I'm going to have one later on, actually.
Oh, amazing.
It was as good a moussaka, even I'm going to say this, that I have ever tasted. But what this has done is it's made me think about food again. It's made me think about how I'm going to prepare food. It's made me think about all the produce of food, because even like all of us, we cook. Oh, I'm going to make something. I'm going to make something quickly. Tricks like peeling the ends of asparagus.
You see, all those little bits.
Well, you don't want to eat
You've been educating the nation.
A bit chewy otherwise. But all this stuff over 40 years of cooking. And I'm going to, funny enough, later on, I'm going to do a key lime pie. I've actually never made a key lime one. And I know it's going to be fabulous because I've already worked out in my head how it's all going to happen. But I've got that sort of knowledge, you know, that I can look at things and change things. But it's made me just concentrate and take stock of really enjoying cooking again.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
Well, you can tell I'm enjoying it, and Donna is like a hoot in the videos, you know. But with her innuendo, somebody said she's playing innuendo bingo, actually. Which I thought, but they're fun to do. I'm really, but again, without this time, I wouldn't have done.
Know. Yeah.
Wouldn't chatting to you now because you'd be running around and I'd be running
around. And so, I suppose what I've done is it's made me stop. I mean, I've literally, I have not stopped since I was 15 years old, whether I'm, you know, running restaurants or racing cars or modeling down catwalks or doing TV presentings, or, you know, I am the jack of all trades, master of none, but I just don't stop. And this is the first time where I've actually gone, oh, you know, absolutely nothing to do. And it's been such a blessing because, you know, I've been there with little Indy, who's 8 now, homeschooling, all of these things, you know, just being a washerwoman, a cleaner, you know, sorting all, as you said, paperwork out, you know, kind of getting things, kind of processing things. I've just had, oh, just no, quit, on to the next, where you can actually sit down and just go, oh, you know, okay, that's now a priority, and that's a thing, and that. So kind of just reevaluating your kind of who you want to be, where you want to be, your quality of life that you want to have, you know, all of these things. It's been a really extraordinary kind of self journey of you know, kind of a complete change.
Yeah.
So
well, we have to take it. We had no choice, and I think because we had no choice, we had. Well, somebody just said they learned a lot. Well, that's very sweet. I'm very happy everyone's learned a lot.
Dealing with floods, yes, I know.
And I hope that we can, if I can teach a few people a few little tricks, then, then it's brilliant.
It's amazing. I love it, and long may it last. Well, and I love the bell, and I love whatever time of day it is, whether it's the morning, it's the glass of champers with the bell, and I'm like, sure, it's 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's a cross between Floyd and the Galloping Gourmet.
Yes.
Gourmet, but you certainly remember Floyd. And there's a
my goodness, we love Floyd.
Remember everybody, but for me, it's fun. Cooking is a joy. It's a passion. Yes, I've made my career out of it. I've made my life out of it. I cook for money for 25 years. I say I don't cook for money anymore. Who knows, after this, maybe somebody might buy.
Yeah, exactly. YouTube channel, whatever it's called.
It's what? It's
YouTube
fun.
Channel or whatever. Instagram channel.
Whatever, yeah. But, and so other than that, I suppose I'm going to go off cooking and off hospitality now and just finish up with, so I know you're a golfer.
Yes.
And I played, my course is Centurion course.
Yeah.
Centurion Club up in Hempstead, St Albans, and I went up there on Thursday last week.
Amazing, when it just opened.
And yeah, I've done two balls, 2 Thursdays.
Oh God, how lovely!
And it was the strangest experience being out, firstly with somebody, and obviously not in the hands or doing anything. Yeah. Playing golf with them, which was great, and walking around this fabulous golf course. And then coming back in and sort of seeing people at at 2 meters there and 2 meters there without actually sort of doing much, but just
cheapies. They're cheapies. Yeah, they're cheapies. They're cheapies from some flea market somewhere.
They work, and it was
just strange.
Yeah. And of course, just to see faces like seeing you today. I mean, this is a lovely, it's almost become, for me, a route to talk to people where I can see them. We can do. That's all right. Oh, I've got to that's fine. Suddenly my battery went low. But golf a few faces I knew.
I haven't gone out and played yet, but certainly I'm just, the one thing I did do was go and get my bike fixed. So I'm going to get back out on the roads again, which I'm looking forward to. But yes, but I'm almost kind of having the reverse, where I'm a bit anxious to get back to normality and a bit back to work. And I'm so used to this now, and and you kind of got that protection that if you kind of have a meltdown, you can just say your phone died and that's it, you're gone. But whereas it's kind of like, I'm a bit kind of like, oh wow, okay, let's get going again. But I'm kind of, it causes a bit of anxiety. But I think a lot of people are going to be going through that, because what we've gone through is so unprecedented, and it's been quite scary that we're now conditioned to this life. Whereas at the beginning it was like, oh, I'm going to go mad. Whereas now I'm like, oh, I want to go out my front door. It's kind of, it's a strange thing, the human psyche, but definitely I'm going to get out onto the golf course maybe next week, but that will be, did you play well? That's the most important thing.
Well, I won 15 quid the first time and lost £10 the next time. So
good. Kind of weighed up. Well, we'll have to get a round in.
Well, it really didn't. I mean, I played okay, but it was irrelevant almost. It was just
Just getting
fantastic.
out.
I've been in here. We've been locked in for about 12 weeks.
Yeah.
12 weeks, nothing wrong. I've got a garden. I mean, I feel super lucky. I've got a garden and I can sit in the sun, and
Yeah.
we've got a lovely kitchen. I can do good. So many ways of filling our time. Other than just doing what we used to do and traveling up and down to London and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I suppose, yes, I want to play. You can now play a 3 or 4 ball, so that'll be the next thing. And
Well, I'll come up and join you.
Oh, it would be joy. It'd be joy to have you playing. I mean, it doesn't matter how we play.
You are going down. You're going down though. You're so going to get thrashed.
Okay then. Oh, in that case.
No, I'm only joking. I have not touched my golf club since last summer. So, yeah.
It's too late. It's too late. Now, I was being so polite and so lovely that it was going to be a gorgeous walk with you. Now, okay.
No, gloves are off.
Handicaps and bits. Now, because I think everyone would slowly hang up. But and plans for the future. I mean, we're thinking: are we going to go on holiday? Are we going to be able to go? Well, holiday. Are we going to go anywhere? We just don't know.
I don't know. I mean, if anything, I've got a lovely friend who's kind of godmother to Indy, and they've got a place in France. So if there's a way, maybe we can drive, and this will be August, towards the end of the summer, if that, maybe driving somewhere. But I don't think I've got my confidence on flying and everything like that yet. So I'm, and as what we're going to do with the pub, I think we're just going to take it super slow. We're still not out the woods yet. We're still there's still a lot of the virus is still out there, and and the most important thing to me is looking after Rach, who's 90. So that one silly moment of complacency, it will not be good. So I'm just going to be,
Well, my mother's 7, and all the food we've been cooking. Even calf's liver, if anyone watched calf's liver, because everyone said, oh my God, Donnie wouldn't touch, but my mum, of course, loved. Well, I didn't tell her it was calf's liver, I just said it was liver and onions, and she said, she's 87, and so we popped over her. Hilton said, this is lovely. I hope that this is a conversation that's lovely. I've really enjoyed it. So other than cooking and popping out to my mum's, and apart from 2 games of golf, that's been it. I've been very careful. And as I said, I don't want to say I've enjoyed it, but I've certainly used it productively.
Yeah, I agree.
And darling, it's been an absolute joy. You guys, please be safe.
We will.
We've done very well. We've done 45 minutes nearly, which is
Look at that, 45 minutes. And our relatives are still watching. All
people are still out there.
Asleep, yeah.
Some people are still watching, I'm sure, while we waffled on, but it was lovely. And it always is.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for my glass of champagne. That really was such a treat. And just sending all of you all my love. And I can't wait for everything to be lifted and we can see each other, and you can come back down to the wonderful Half Moon, and we'll be all up and running and going hell for leather to make up on the last 6 months.
Somebody said it's lovely to hear from you both. Well, that's lovely. Look, it always is lovely to see you, and good luck and love to all the family. Love to Joe and love to. All right.
And to you. All right, my darling. Love you. Bye, guys, and thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.